Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, the 25th day of June. My name is Shawn King. This is show number 1013. Thank you guys very much for joining us. We're going to get our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop on the air immediately because I know Jim's a busy guy and he has places to go and people to see and things to do. Jim Dalrymple, you there? Jim? Jim? Why can't I hear Jim? I can hear buzzing. Hang on, Jim. I can. Oh, jeez. Why can't I hear? Now can I hear you? There we go. Jesus, I'm sorry. I didn't push it in hard enough. How you doing? Hey, come on now. To be fair, we haven't had a major screw up in a long time. Okay?
We should just get like a chisel and pamphlet or something.
Probably be easier. Hey, right off the top, I got to ask you a big question. Have you seen the beer fridge, O Canada beer fridge, Molson Canadian ad yet?
Yeah.
Could you sing the national anthem if you had to? Could you get it right?
Sure.
Really? See, I don't know that I could. I don't know I have the confidence to know all the correct words. I know the song. I know the tune, but I don't know if I could actually nail it and get it right.
Well, you gotta forget all that French stuff.
Forget all the French stuff. Okay, that makes perfect sense. That's it. Hey, let's talk about the Google keynote this morning. Typically odd, weird Google stuff, which seems to be their way of doing these kinds of things. Did you by any chance watch this?
I did not.
Good for you.
The story that you linked to was the best one I saw.
It really was.
I mean, I was looking at coverage all over the place for this keynote, and I saw the one that you linked to, and I thought, oh no, this is going to be a bad one, just like the rest of them. And I read it, and I was sitting there laughing. It's just so messed up. It's awful.
Jim is talking about a story from dailydot.com. The only thing you need to read about today's weird Google I/O keynote. I didn't watch it either. I was watching it on, or quote unquote, watching it on Twitter, just seeing people comment about it on Twitter, and it just seems like Google's okay with these kinds of weird vibe of these I/O keynotes, don't you think? Because they know how to do it right. I mean, they've seen other companies, Apple included, do it right, and yet they still choose to throw the kitchen sink. This thing was almost 3 hours long.
Oh, there was just so much wrong with that keynote. Protesters were there screaming at them, and then their code wouldn't work, and it was just hilarious.
Well, the fact they were showing code to begin with was kind of odd. You know, the guy was actually coding on the spot. Now, it's different from the Swift code thing, but that Apple did. But yeah, and then the protesters, that seems strange too. I mean, I think it was Gruber that pointed out, isn't it odd that you never see Apple have protesters when they're if you wanted to get a lot of promotion or a lot of visibility, whatever the hell it is that you want to scream about, you'd think an Apple keynote would be a good place to do it too, wouldn't you?
Well, you would, but it seems that these protesters are really blaming Google, and in particular one of Google's lawyers.
Yeah.
So that's who they've picked on. And I don't know if you noticed the link that I posted this morning about Occupy Google.
Yeah.
Where the protesters are trying to occupy Google's headquarters.
Yeah.
And they were arrested last night, and things just got ugly.
It really did. Arcsign is in the IRC chat room. He's asking, Shawn, ask Jim if keynotes, including Apple's, have just gotten too long.
Well, I think when you look at Google's keynote today, what was it, 3 hours?
Almost, yep.
Did you see Christina Warren's post?
No.
Tonight, to me and Tom. She said that she was at the keynote. She left the keynote in the car, did a television, got back in the car, came back, and they were still doing it.
Yeah, your keynote is too long when you can leave and come back and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
That is.
So,
You know what? I think that answering Arksign's question, they're not too long if they're interesting. You know,
well, I think that's exactly.
If you're giving out good information and you're engaging your audience both online and in the room, there's no such thing as a too long keynote. There's too short keynotes, but too long ones. The too long ones are only the ones that we find frickin' boring.
I think 3 hours is a bit much.
Yeah.
For anybody. I kind of like, an hour and a half to 2 hours, as long as, again, like you said, there's something to say.
Yeah.
I remember the keynote. Remember when Steve did the 10 on 10?
Yeah.
It was the big 10 apps on OS 10.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, they were just awful keynotes. Let's not mistake the fact that Steve was a genius at giving his keynotes and stuff, but those 10 on 10 where he had 10 different people come out and talk, and
there's certainly, Apple's had their fair share of at least low points during a keynote. I can remember the ones with Jobs doing the demonstration of the psychedelic aspect of iTunes, and us thinking, oh God, he's having an acid flashback. Or the DVD, the iDVD stuff that just went on and on. It felt like it went on for 45 minutes of him showing off different themes of iDVD, and it was just torturously boring. But I think for the most part, Apple does it right. They've got interesting things going on in their keynotes, and Google just doesn't seem to have learned that lesson.
Yeah, and all of those things are a problem when you're not experienced at giving like Apple is.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed like, from what I heard, that Google just kind of, I thought last night, hey, let's do this. Would it be cool if we showed code?
Yep.
That would be so awesome. And then just went out and did it.
Yeah.
That's how some of these keynotes come off. Samsung's keynotes come off very stiff, and and that could be more the culture than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But Apple puts weeks of practice into these things.
Oh, months.
So it shows.
Yeah. The one of the things that was announced or shown off today was the Moto 360, as The Verge called it, the best-looking smartwatch yet. And I think that by The Verge saying that, and the visuals I've seen of this Moto 360 shows that the average person is not going to care about smartwatches. If this is what the best-looking one is, have you seen this thing yet?
The little round one?
Yeah, the little. It looks huge. It looks as big as your fist.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't. If this is what these guys are designing, I don't want Apple to release an iWatch.
Well, I might go release one myself.
The Loop watch. Yeah. I still have yet to see anything compelling in anyone's smartwatch that the average person, geeks, but the average person would want. I spent the weekend down in Falls Creek here in Vancouver and at the Scandinavian Festival talking to people, and I asked some people about smartwatches, and no one, either they had no idea what I was talking about, or they certainly showed no interest in a smartwatch once they figured out what it was that I was talking about. I don't think average people want a smartwatch.
Well, I see, this is... Average people didn't want a phone with a touch screen either.
True. Fair enough, yeah.
You talk to people about, a smartphone in 2006, they talked about maybe a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
But that was about it. They didn't really talk about, I envision something with a touch screen, and, no. That's not going to happen. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. It's the old Henry Ford line that if he had asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. So, I get that point of view. The only one I've seen, I linked to it, folks, up on loopinsight.com, is this Withings Active smartwatch, which actually looks really nice. as a watch itself. It looks like it's an interesting looking, smart looking watch that you would be proud to have on your wrist, and it does the same sort of pedometer type things and fitness tracking that others would do. I don't know. I still don't know though if that's something that a lot of people are going to want to put on their arms.
Well, there's two aspects to this this watch thing, and I think the same two aspects go to tablets and to phones and everything else that's coming out these days. One is design,
yep,
and two is functionality.
Yep.
And from what I've seen, nobody has gotten one or the other right yet.
Yeah.
So, functionality for me, seeing, your notification on your watch that you have a message, well, so what?
Yeah, I agree.
That's okay as a feature if there's something else. If I have it on there because this is a compelling product, and one of the features happens to be that I can see that I have a text message or a phone call, and I can see who it's from. Okay, and it tells time. Okay,
yeah.
Those are all tiny things that they're all good, but that can't be the main feature.
Yeah. Yeah, I have yet to see anything that's really compelling enough to make me want to learn more about a product like this, or want to tell other people about how cool this product might be.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm sure that it's going to come, and somebody's going to make something that does fill the design space,
yep,
and it's also functional. But typically, people miss out, or companies miss out on one or the other.
Agreed.
In my experience, and I think so far with the smartwatch, they've missed out on both.
Yeah. Microsoft wants you to trade in your MacBook Air for Surface Pro.
What a bunch of morons!
Now this is the third or fourth time Microsoft has tried this stunt. Basically trade in your Apple product for a Microsoft product. It has failed miserably every single time. I don't know if folks remember back in the days of the Zune, Microsoft had outside of its head office in Redmond a big old box, a huge plexiglass box that said, throw in your iPod here and we'll give you a free Zune. And there was like 2 over the month period of time. Nobody wanted the Zune.
No.
There are people who are going to want the Surface Pro, but I can't imagine anyone who owns a MacBook Air would trade it in for a Surface Pro.
I honestly can't see that happening. I really can't. I don't see where they're coming up with these ideas that, they obviously want to try and prove that this is a replacement for a MacBook Air.
Sure.
And if they got a million of people trading them in, that they'd put out a press release or something.
Yep.
But it's just not going to happen.
It's just a dumb PR stunt. That's what I don't get. I don't understand why they keep doing these dumb PR stunts when, in theory, the previous 2 or 3 or 4 didn't work, so why keep trying? Think of doing something else, Microsoft. Think of a different way if you need to do PR stunts, and you don't need to do PR stunts if you've got a good product. Hello! Then think about some other way of getting the word out about the Surface Pro 3.
Yeah. Yeah, because, judging from the 2 previous versions, sales are going to suck.
Yeah, there's no other way to describe that. They're definitely not going to be a let's say successful product.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of a successful product, another story I posted up on the Loop a couple of days ago that Apple's good friend Bono of U2 posted or said in an on stage, he kind of teased and chewed out Johnny Ive for Apple's lack of, shall we say, promotion of the Project Red sort of thing. The Project Red folks have come out since and basically said an apology and walked back Bono's comments. Do you think Bono was right that Apple doesn't do enough to promote this? They are the company that could do the most to fight AIDS in this way?
If I were Apple, I'd say fine. I'd color it orange and take product red off it altogether. There you go, Bono. How's that?
You don't really think that Tim Cook is going to do this, though, do you?
No, of course not. Tim Cook's not. I'm saying if he said that to me, that's what I would do.
And he's had comment. Him and Ive are friends. They've known each other a long time. So you know that Bono's had this conversation with Johnny Ive in the past. This is not something that Ive was surprised about.
I like Bono's foundation.
Yeah.
I like his product red. I'm behind everything that the thing stands for and everything that it does.
Yeah.
I am not behind publicly humiliating and embarrassing somebody that is trying to help you.
See, no, I don't think he was doing that. I would disagree. I would disagree with that characterization. He was certainly pointing it out. I don't think he was intending to publicly humiliate either Apple or Johnny Ive. Well,
that's how I take it.
Okay.
And I think that Johnny Ive should have jumped up on the stage and punched him in the face. That's what I think.
You're a bit cranky after your weight loss, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I don't like that, and I really liked U2 back in the day of the first few albums, but then Bono get off, and I just wanted him to shut up.
Yeah.
And now, most especially, not because it's Johnny, but Apple is giving Product Red a lot of money, a lot of money, and Bono should just be kissing his feet for the money that he's getting from them. Well, but instead, he goes up publicly and does this. I just don't agree with it.
I think what he's doing...
That's why I can't run a big company like Apple, because I'm so vindictive. I crush him.
That's right.
I take his music off the store.
I take his point that with minimal promotion, Apple has raised $75 million, by far the most of any company involved in Project Red. So what Bono is saying is, hey, if you guys would promote this more, we could raise even more money on this.
I don't agree with that.
Well, okay.
I don't agree with that.
Have you ever bought any Project Red items?
I have.
Because they were Project Red or because they were red?
Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah, I've never bought anything in order to support Project Red specifically because it was Project Red, but I buy red things like the stupid cover. I'm not calling it a smart cover; it's a stupid cover on my iPad Air. I bought that because it was red. I like the color red. If it had been blue, I would have bought a blue one. But the Project Red one, it made some money for Project Red. Okay, great, but that's not why I bought it.
I don't know. I just don't like Bono now.
Did you see the story, I think it was about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, of, I think it was Tim Cook in Austin, Texas, doing tech support calls?
No.
Can you imagine? So Tim Cook and Eddie Q and some other Apple execs are wandering around, I think it was the Austin, Texas Apple campus, and I don't know if this is probably prearranged, but Tim Cook gets on one of the tech support calls. Now, no one's reported on what he said, but there's a picture floating around online of Tim Cook in the cubicle farm, and he was actually answering tech support calls and asking the customer some questions about, I think it was WWDC or something along those lines. Can you imagine? Here you are. You have a problem with your iPad. It's not turning on. It's not working. You call up 1-800-SOS-Apple or whatever it might be now to call up tech support, and the CEO of the company answers?
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. If you could ask Tim Cook one question, not tech support, but if you could ask Tim Cook any question at all, and he'd have to answer it. He'd have to answer it honestly and openly. What do you think that question would be?
How much money's in your ashtray in your car?
Really? That's what you got? That's what you're going to give me? You know what? I honestly don't know I would ask him for the breakdown of Apple products by category, by type of product. I want to know how many iPhone.
You're just trying to get them to talk for a long time.
Exactly. I want to know how many iPhone 5Cs they've sold, how many iPad Minis they've sold. I'm really curious to know those numbers.
I don't think that's an important question.
I don't. Well, like yours is better.
Actually, I think it is.
How much money's in your ashtray?
Because I don't think he would be able to answer mine right off.
I agree.
We would have to take a trip out to his car to find out, and that's where I would start asking him the other questions.
Oh, you're sneaky. See, you're so much sneakier than I am. You're a much sneakier man than I could ever imagine being. After 47 years in print, Computer World, IDG's Computer World, is finally going digital only. Now, it turns out there's only one IDG magazine left that is still going to be in the Dead Tree edition, and that's our friend Macworld. You and I have talked about this, I think, once before, 6 or 8 months ago, when another of IDG's magazines went print only. How much longer do you think Macworld as a print magazine has?
I don't know.
I would think. Do you think 5 years?
Unless something changes, I don't know if it'd be that long.
Yeah.
It all comes down to how much money you're making for how much you're spending to print.
Yep.
And, there's only so much that you can do as a company to cut costs. And I think that Macworld has done so much.
Mm-hmm,
Macworld and PC World together. We've done so much to cut costs. I don't know what else can be done. I'm not familiar with what they've done in the past couple of years, but it's a tough. I wouldn't want to do that. I would not.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely agree with you. But the
every single day.
I think for me the relevance of most print magazines, if not all print magazines, the relevance has really gone out of those editions, those Dead Tree editions, especially a monthly. Maybe you can get away with a weekly like Time, but when it comes down to a monthly, trying to do the news, and I think that's the problem with Macworld. I think that's where Macworld may have lost a bit of its steam, is by still trying to do news in the monthly edition. If I remember correctly, most magazines, and I think Macworld is typical of this, they've got a 3-month lead time, don't they?
Oh yeah, magazines. They have an incredible amount of lead time. I'm not even sure if that's the same anymore.
Yeah.
They try and narrow that down as much as they can. They try and get the features done, obviously, but you try and narrow everything else down as much as you can. That's about all you can do.
Yep, I think they got rid of your huge salary, and they're still treading water. I don't know if they're making money or not. I haven't picked up a physical copy of Macworld the magazine in probably 5 years, although I do read the website on a regular basis. They still got good reporting and good writing and a good. I think they are the best out there when it comes to doing accessible things like reviews and benchmarks of various Apple products and software.
Sure.
ArcSign says, Shawn, I wonder if Macintosh users purchase things more often, including items advertised in Macworld. They do, but not so much that can keep the magazine afloat. The magazine floats by the number of subscribers they have,
right.
And that's what will keep Macworld going. If the parent company
because they're still going by the old when ad sales go out to book advertisers, they have to report how many subscribers they have. That is based on that is the basis of how much they can charge.
Yep.
So the more subscribers you lose, the more, and that's what online basically does in a lot of instances too. You have so many page views,
yep.
Then you can charge this much per 1,000 click-throughs or whatever it is on that banner, and that's why I like the way that I do it, because it doesn't matter if I get 10 page views or 1 million. I charge the same amount. You know, so that's the good part about all of that. It's all the same.
It will be a shame to see it go, but like I said, I don't think I was doing a 5-year lead time as being generous, but I wouldn't be surprised to hear that the Dead Tree edition would be gone inside of 3 years. I just don't think we need that kind of magazine anymore in a Dead Tree edition.
Yeah, I agree.
Folks, I've been talking to Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. Did you and Dan do a live Amplified today?
We did, yeah.
Go to the iTunes store, folks. Do a search for Amplified. You can listen to Jim's very own podcast he does with Dan Benjamin. Jim, I know you got to go, so I'm going to let you go. Thanks so much for being here, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Have a good night. See you.
Bye.
It was Jim. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Sorry about that. Bloop, bloop. Jim Dalrymple from The Loop, loopinsight.com. We had to do that early because, like I said, Jim has to take off. Hang on, let me plug this back in. I'm going to turn this volume. Sorry, I had to turn that volume down so you guys' ears wouldn't get blown out when I plugged in the other cable. So Jim had to leave early. So I said we'll do a usual pre-show thing here. Oh yeah, let me do it this way. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Your Mac Life, folks. I'm Shawn King. You'll understand why this was odd later. I'm Shawn King. On tonight's show, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple from The Loop at loopinsight.com. See, I forgot to hit record before. It's probably not going to work. Never mind. Screw it. I'm not going to do it. I had just a bear of a week. I'm sorry. I just had just a bear of a week. Where was I going to go? On tonight's show, we're going to give away surprises. We're going to give away a Low Pro camera bag from the nice folks at lowpro.com, my favorite camera bags. I've had 2 of them over the last, I got to say, 6 years now. And that's how long they last for me. Carry it wherever I go. It's a Low Pro slingshot bag. I should pull this up so you guys can see what kind of bag I'm talking about. Is the website. The Low Pro slingshot is the Transit Sling 250 is the bag I carry around with me everywhere I go. It's a fantastic camera bag. I absolutely love it. Like I said, if I'm outside, I probably got this thing slung over my shoulder somewhere. Somewhere on my body is going to be the Low Pro camera bag because it fits everything. I've got in that camera. Well, I'm not sure how much camera gear I've got in that bag, so someone might beat me up for it. But I've got just a literal buttload of camera gear in the Low Pro bag. So I really like carrying it around. So we're going to give away one of the Low Pro bags on tonight's show. The way you enter is by going to the website at yourmaclifeshow.com. Right to the top of the screen, top of the page, you'll see Friends of YML entry form. You fill out that entry form, it sends me an email, and drop your name into our virtual hat, and later on the show we'll do a drawing for one of the Low Pro bags. If you are a subscriber to Your Mac Life, and if you're not, it's easy. You go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. On the left-hand side, you can just subscribe for $2, $5, $10, $15, whatever amount of dollars you want a month. That money comes to me, to my PayPal account. I use it to pay for bandwidth and for stuff. But I drop your name into the virtual hat on your behalf. You don't have to worry about doing it every month. I'm doing it for you. The other thing is, too, for every $2 above the original $2, we put an extra entry form in there for you. So if you subscribe at $4, you get 2 entry forms. If you subscribe at $6, you get 3 entry forms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So please do that. If you haven't been a Your Mac Life subscriber, I encourage you to do that for me. Oh, that's the other thing. I knew there was something else I wanted to say. The tips and tricks class. The starting point photography tips and trick class, the price is going to double July 1st because I'm going to be doing a Groupon and they need me to raise the price. So if you sign up before July 1st, send me an email that says you're going to sign up. You can do the class whenever you want. Remember, it's an on-demand tips and tricks class. You can do it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You can do it at 6 a.m. You can do it whatever time is convenient for you. But sign up for it before July 1st. Send me an email at Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com if you want to let me know you're going to do this. Or go to the website at startingpointphotography.com and you can click on the top. It says classes. You can click on that, or the Facebook page, or any one of 1,000 other places you can get a hold of me to let me know that you're going to get the class, because it's $50 now, but it'll go up to $100 starting July 1st, because Groupon takes half of whatever. So I'm still making $50, but Groupon needs to make $50 too. So that the price is going to change. So if you want to do the tips and tricks thing, you've got till the end of this weekend. When's July 1st? Tuesday. You got till Tuesday before you will have to start paying full price, unfortunately. So, that's right. On Saturday, I want to say thanks real quick to the folks at MacFun Software, MacFun.com, to Joby, makers of the GorillaPod, Joby.com. The wonderful folks at Epson, makers of the R2000 printer, we're giving away this Saturday. A $600 printer we're giving away to a lucky person who's going to be at the seminar in Halifax. Oloclip is giving us Oloclip lenses for our iPads and our iPhones. The aforementioned Low Pro is giving us bags to give away. The folks at Backblaze.com are giving away free year-long subscriptions to Backblaze, and Pixelmator, the fantastic graphic editor, is also going to be involved in giving away prizes this coming Saturday in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I was talking to our friend Mo, earlier this afternoon. I was doing the math. You can fly from Los Angeles, California to New York City, so across the country, United States, to the two major cities for a little over $300. And it will take you a little over 5 hours of flying time. So let's assume 2 hours on the front end to get to the airport, and an hour to check in, and then an hour at the other end to get to your hotel or location. So door to door, that's probably, let's say, 7 hours. Okay, so that's LA, New York, a little over $300. Let's say we'll round it up to $400, and 7.5 hours. Okay, Thursday, I will leave my home, my humble abode, at 2:30 p.m. on Thursday. I will arrive at my hotel in Halifax, Nova Scotia, the next day at 8:30 a.m. I will be traveling for approximately 15 hours, and the flight cost over $700. That's how big Canada is. Okay? If you ever want any sort of, comparison between the size of our two countries, we're not almost the same size, like a lot of Americans think. That's how big Canada. A lot of Americans don't realize Canada has 7 time zones. America has 4. Canada has 7. Now, granted, one of them is that weird Newfie time, but still, it's a different time zone. So that's how big this country is. I have been loading up my iPad full of stuff to read and stuff to watch and stuff to do and games to play, just to keep myself entertained for 15. Because one of the problems is that's 15 hours of no sleep for me either. I can't sleep on a plane. I can't get comfortable enough to sleep on a plane. I might nod off for a few minutes, but as soon as I hear a voice or somebody moves, as soon as I wake up. So that's going to be a very long day. I get into Halifax, like I said, 8:30 on Friday morning. I'll go to the location, mess around there for a little bit to test out some things. I've got the day to wander around Halifax, and I do a location scout. We're going to the beautiful Spring Garden Road, Public Gardens on Spring Garden Road. It's been called one of the best examples of classic public gardens in North America. And hopefully I'm going to catch it just maybe at the tail end of the blooming season and the beginning of the flowering season. Remember, seasons are a little different in Nova Scotia because our winters are a little bit longer. So hopefully I'll be able to get some good shots there. And then the next day we're doing the seminar, the all-day seminar at the Museum of Natural History in Halifax. And then we're going to do a photo shoot afterwards. We're going to walk down to the public gardens and do a photo shoot or photo walk afterwards. So I'm really looking forward to it. And then Sunday I'm going down to Bridgewater, Nova Scotia to see my cute little niece and my cute sister and my mom and the farm and all kinds of stuff and goats. I'm going to have goat cheese, I think. I hope. I like goat cheese. So it's going to be an interesting weekend to hang out with the family. So I won't be online, basically. I won't be able to, because I think my mom's only got dial-up. I think my sister has high speed, but I think my mom's only got dial-up. She doesn't need any more than that. And then back here on Monday. It's going to be a weird week next week, too, because July 1st, Canada Day, is the Tuesday, and July 4th, American Independence, is the Thursday. So I'm sure a lot of folks are probably taking, at least the folks in the States are taking the Friday off, and in Canada maybe taking the Monday off to get themselves a long weekend. So there'll be a lot of folks that are going to be traveling, doing all kinds of stuff. So that's what's happening next week. So remember, so if you want to do the tips and tricks classes, like all this got started, tips and tricks class, let me know. Send me an email before Tuesday when the price goes up. And as hopefully I think Mo said in the IRC chat room. Did he say that? I think he said, hell of a course, folks. That's what he said. Good. MacMan says, LAX to New York City is more like a 5.5, 6-hour flight. I checked on Kayak today, and there was one flight that was 5 hours and 15 minutes. So I was just going by what Kayak was telling me. DH says, wasn't Halifax in 2012, anniversary of Titanic? Saw commentary there. I don't know what that means. Hopefully you had a good time. A lot of folks don't realize that about Halifax. One of the things I always tell people, Halifax is a wonderfully historic city. It doesn't have the same epic history of Rome or Paris or London, but for North America, Halifax has a lot of history. And a lot of folks don't realize is Halifax was the closest major port to bring people and bodies from the Titanic back in 1912 when it sank. And there are bodies buried in Halifax, in the Fairview Cemetery in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Cemetery that's open to the public. You can go and they've got Titanic victims are there. Also, the world's largest accidental man-made explosion happened in Halifax Harbor in, I believe, 1916 when two ships, the Mont Blanc and the Emo, collided. And they were munition ships. The explosion was so huge that people said they could see the bottom of Halifax Harbor. And Halifax Harbor is one of the deepest natural harbors in the world. It doesn't freeze over in the wintertime. It's so deep. The explosion was heard in Truro, Nova Scotia, 100 miles away. It was felt in Boston, Massachusetts. And one of the wonderful stories every year for you folks who live in the New England area, the Christmas tree that's on the Boston Common is a Nova Scotia Christmas tree. Because when the Halifax explosion happened, Boston sent nurses and doctors, because it happened, I think, December 12th, 1916, so it was in the middle of winter. A lot of people were left homeless. And so Boston sent a lot of supplies to Halifax. And in recognition of that, ever since, Nova Scotia has delivered a huge Christmas tree to the people of Boston every year. So it's always nice to see. The only tree lighting ceremony I ever like watching is the Boston Commons one, because I know that tree is from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Sherry says, I'm sure I mentioned it before, but the heritage moment about the Halifax explosion traumatized me as a child. Yeah, I don't blame you, Sherry. Someone find the video of that. Do a YouTube search for heritage moment, Halifax explosion, and post it in the IRC chat room, or if you're listening to the archive, do a YouTube search yourself. It's about a story of one of the problems with the Halifax explosion was when the two ships collided, they just burned. They didn't explode immediately. So the citizenry of Halifax went down to the waterfront to watch the ships burn. People had no idea. This is during wartime. People had no idea that the two ships, or at least one of the ships was a munition ship. It was carrying guns and ammo and gunpowder and whatever else they used in World War I. So people came down to the waterfront to watch the fire. And there's a classic story of a telegraph operator who stayed at his post to warn incoming trains not to come into the city, to stop where they were, because the train station was down on the waterfront too. And he may have saved a couple hundred, 500, 1,000 lives. He died in the explosion because he stayed at his post. Oh, it was an awful story. Yeah, sure. I remember watching that one when I was a kid. It was terrible. Sherry, historiccanada.ca. And from there, you'll be able to find it. It's /content Heritage-Minutes Halifax-Explosion. It's a wonderfully sad, heroic story of a guy who gave his life to save people in the Halifax explosion. So yeah, Halifax has got a lot of wonderful history. So I'm really looking forward to going back and posting pictures. If you aren't following me on Twitter, don't. You don't need to follow me on Twitter. I have verbal diarrhea on Twitter. Don't follow me. But Starting Point Photography on Twitter is Start Point Photo. Follow me on Facebook. StartingPointPhotography.com is the website. So all the pictures I post, I'll be posting up on those different places. So please follow along there. Did you see the story from Fortune magazine? We tease him a lot, and he deserves it. But this goes above and beyond the call. Our friend Gene Munster from Piper Jaffray has a survey that other people are taking seriously, and they really shouldn't. Piper Jaffray went to the Mall of America and interviewed 100 people. Now, this in no way, shape, or form could ever be described as any way scientific, because just reading about the group of people that they interviewed, the sample of 100 shoppers was hardly representative of the U.S. population, never mind today's global market for electronics. It was 100 people, 61 women, 39 men. Average age of 32, youngest 16, oldest 62. Average income, $130,000 for the average income of these people. Right then and there, you stop your survey, because it's not a representative of anything. You should certainly stop reporting on the survey as if it was news, as if this was going to be any kind of factual information that you could glean something from. Because Piper Jaffray apparently picked 100 rich people in the Mall of America. 22% change their watch every day. Change their watch so almost a quarter of them have more than one watch. I've got one watch. I have one watch. I just realized I don't have any one. They own an average of 2.4 watches, and they buy a new one every 3.4 years. The last watch I bought was my Tissot that I got in Atlanta, Georgia, at the opening of the Apple store down there. This is 2014, so it would have been 11 years ago. It was the last time I bought a watch. This is the kind of story that other asshats in the Mac media pick up on and pretend like it's really news, like it's really informative, like it's got anything to do with real life. It doesn't. It's not scientific. It's not representative. It's just 100 rich people. You can't build a news story out of that, even though Elmer Fudd at Fortune certainly tried, and I've seen other folks try to do it too. You absolutely cannot try to figure out or extrapolate from this any kind of data or information. Just don't even try. Utterly idiotic for these guys to try to pull this thing off. We were talking before about the dead tree edition of things, and this story popped up, and then one of the reasons why I was mentioning was because of this story. Apparently, there is a company. How many of you guys use RSS feeds or use services like Read It Later or Get Pocket or Instapaper? In other words, how many of you use a service to save websites, articles, data to read later when you're on the train or when you're traveling or whatever it might be? The reason why I ask is because I think maybe it's just me because I'm an information junkie. I think it's very popular for folks to do. Not majority or even a large minority, but a lot of us will do it that way. So this company called Paper Later, tired of reading stuff on screen? Paper Later can print it for you. What it is that you would save this stuff, you would save the information, and then you would send it to these guys, and they would print it like on newsprint, and then send it to you X number of days or weeks later. in a newspaper kind of format. I don't see the point of this. I don't get the idea. It says, fancy reading this post on paper? Don't hit the print button on your browser. Instead, save it for Paper Later, and they'll do the rest. Paper Later is a service by the Newspaper Club, which turns blogs, commentaries, and online blurbs into printed newspapers, which they will then mail out for your reading pleasure. I don't see why you would spend money on this. Why the company would waste resources, paper, trees, on this. If you don't want to read on a screen, I don't know if that would be a better way of reading blogs. I don't know if they're formatted properly. I'm looking at the screenshot they have there, and it looks like it would just be torturous to read that. Newspapers are broken up in the way they are for a reason. It looks like this wouldn't be broken up at all. ArcSign says they should print stuff on gold leaf paper instead. Yeah, it just seems like the most incredibly pointless waste of time and money. Now, luckily, Paper Later is currently in public beta and is available to residents of the UK only, but the service will eventually be launched in other countries. I don't think it will be. I don't think we're ever going to see this. This is one of those products that dies a hopefully painful death, and we'll never hear from again. C. Plater says, I just bought Reader 2 for the Mac to get back on the RSS bandwagon. Interesting, C. Plater, you say that. Why did you buy Reader 2? See, I am an RSS fanatic. That's how I get 90% of my information is through various RSS feeds. But I do it in my browser. I do it through Feedly on the Macintosh, the browser, and then on the iPad, I'll use the Feedly app that syncs to Feedly in the browser. So I didn't see any point in paying for an RSS reader. Especially Reader itself didn't work the way I wanted it to. And so obviously I'm not going to pay for it. So why did you, C. Plater? Send me an email if you have to, on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. Let me know why you've chosen to buy the Reader 2 application, desktop application, on the Macintosh. Macman says, no, I tried but never got into it. He means RSS. Hiker, no RSS. C. Plater, I use paper to store articles I want to read later. Marcus Mendez, there, Marcus, I said your name. No Instapaper, yes RSS, and I use favorites on Twitter as a read it later feature. I hadn't thought about doing it that way. Interesting. Yeah, I could see for me, I don't get much news on Twitter. I don't use Twitter as a news source. I've always used Twitter as a conversation source. I'll get some news, obviously, from Twitter, but very rarely will I get a whole lot of it from Twitter. Sorry, I got to get his name right. I want to say thanks to where did we go? Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson sent me. Now, depending on your age, this next website is going to be fascinating to you, completely foreign to you, or just sad to you. Are you ready for this? Check this out, kids. See how many of you recognize this. Does that look familiar? Welcome to Macintosh. For you young folks out there, this is what we used to do to start up our Macintoshes. This was the way our Macintoshes booted up. This is the thing, and it didn't happen that fast, by the way. Did not happen that fast. For you youngins out there, this process, what you just saw, took 5 minutes. I mean, it certainly took enough time for you to get up, go and get coffee, go to the bathroom, and come back. There were many, many of us who would wake up in the morning, walk to our computers, hit the power button, and then go make coffee, go brush your teeth, go have a shower, come back. It's kind of funny. It's actually a very, very amusing little website. It's I think he's German. Andrea Grell, AndreaGrell.de. /eworld_flash/index.html. I kind of miss, was it mosquito, extensions loading. I actually kind of miss the extension loading thing. I don't know why I say that. If only because when you watch the extensions load on the bottom of the screen, you kind of knew, if you were a geek, you knew what each one of those extensions did. And if something was going wrong with your computer, you could kind of know that at this point was when things were screwing up, and you go into your extensions manager and you turn some of them off and turn some of them on. Blah, blah, blah. But the best part about this particular website is that it's interactive. Yes, kids, it actually works. Well, check this out. I can double-click on the README file. I can close it. I can open up the Documents folder. I can close the Documents folder. I can... Oh, he doesn't have window shade installed. Look, he's got the eyeball thing going too. How many of you had that on your Macintoshes? Had the little eyeball that followed you around, which is ridiculous. The colored Apple logo, which I also miss. Here's about this Macintosh. Someone was asking which machine this was. It says System Software 7.51 Power Macintosh. It doesn't say which Mac this is. Oh, it says it's the... I can't even see the text down there. Hang on a second. What does that say? Performa something or something. Can anyone see what that says? Performa 6110 CD? I'm not sure. He might have just completely made it up. I don't actually know. 6116, it looks like. There's the applications folder, and there was the system folder. Oh my God, this brings me back. The Mac TCP DNR. That's what we got on the internet, kids. Well, we had to use this. Was the extensions? Oh, extensions. So these folders don't work. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this was the way. This was the way we'd actually get on the internet or use our Macintosh. It was hilarious. It was so funny. It looked like it's a Performa 6116 CD. RAM doubler, Mosquito's talking about. Yeah, it was just funny website. Again, AndreaGrell.de, Andrea. He was actually talking about eWorld. He had a story on his website about the death of eWorld so many years ago. Because I guess someone was pining for eWorld. Res Editor, oh God, yeah, I remember messing around with Res Editor and screwing my computer up on a regular basis. I mentioned at the top of the show, let's just do our, this is the starting point photography segment of this year's show. The website, startingpointphotography.com. Please go to the website and check out the stories I've got posted up there for you guys. Stories are obviously about photography and the photography things and things you can do photography. 8 things you should keep in your camera bag is the latest story I've got up on startingpointphotography.com. You can click on, and if you're a Twitter user, you can follow the Start Point Photo. Twitter at Start Point Photo are the guys. You get some pictures of my Dragon Boat festival that we went to today, or sorry, not today, yesterday weekend. We went to the Dragon Boat Festival here in Vancouver. It was very disappointing. I didn't get any good shots of Dragon Boats. Some nice shots of the band who were playing and some people who were there. And then on Sunday, went to the Scandinavian Festival. I didn't know that. I always thought that Scandinavia was Norway, Sweden, and Finland. That was Scandinavia. I did not realize that Denmark and Iceland are also considered Scandinavian. I learned something new there. So that was fun. So yeah, please go to the startingpointphotography.com website to see more of that. I saw a story on Mashables today that brought me back, way back. Back in the day, I used to be when I worked for Apple, I used to be the Western Canada supervisor for Apple Demo Days. And what Demo Days was this is before the Apple Store, obviously. This was sort of the precursor to the Apple Store within a store at CompUSA's and Best Buy's. And what it was that Apple hired me, and then I hired reps in Vancouver, Victoria, Edmonton, Calgary. I think I want to say as far east as Winnipeg, Regina. So I hired college students who would go into our local Future Shops. In Canada, Future Shop is the same as Best Buy. Go into local stores with at the time, a Performa, I think a 6400. I'm not sure, but somewhere around there. To go into the stores, set the machine up, and then basically answer questions of folks who showed any kind of interest in the Macintosh. And not many did. I shall tell you that right now. But it was also a way to get Apple people in the store to take care of the Macintoshes that were already there. Because as we all know, for those folks who are old enough to remember going into these stores, they were rarely set up properly. It was far too easy to mess with the computer. Kids still do it. But the Best Buy employees just didn't have the knowledge of how to fix the Macintoshes. So they were often crashed or turned off or that kind of thing. So the staff that I'd hired would also make sure the machines were up and running. And so one of the things that we did was we demoed stuff. And one of the things that Apple gave us to demo was the QuickTake 100. Oh my God. Oh my God. This was the coolest thing in the world at the time. This was a camera that you could take pictures with, and the pictures would show up almost instantly on your computer. This was 1984, right? This is the Stone Age of Macintosh. This was magic. Okay? This is the only way to describe this to people was literal freaking magic. Because what you would do is you would have people who showed a little bit of interest in it, and you'd pull this camera, and it had a feel of binoculars. It didn't have binocular viewfinder. It only had one eyepiece for the viewfinder. So, but you kind of held it like binoculars, and you looked through it, and you took a picture. And then you hooked the camera, I think probably an ADB port, hooked it up to the Macintosh, and then I don't know what software we used, but it could show you the picture right then and there. And it blew people's minds, blew their minds that they could do this, that you could take a picture and have it show up on that computer screen 30 seconds, a minute later. We'd email it to them. Most people didn't even have email, but we could email, we could print it off if they wanted to. Now, the funniest thing is, I still remember the excitement people had, especially if someone had kids. Oh my God, we loved if you were dragging a kid along. We'd take a picture of the kid. And everyone wanted pictures of the kids. So if you're dragging a kid along, we had you hooked by taking pictures of your kid, because then we could show you how you could import that into other software and do things to it. You could put it into a document. You could, like I said, you could print it out. The funniest thing was how crappy these pictures were. We forget that I think the QuickTake took 16 pictures. That was the maximum number of pictures it took. At 320 by 240, I think was. Let me see this. This Mashall's article says it was $750 US. I think, if I remember, in Canada it was over $1,000 Canadian. It stored 8 640 by 480 or 16 320 by 240 24-bit color images. That's nothing. I think that makes them like under a megabyte in megapixels. These things were just ridiculously small and bad. The color was awful. You know, it was all washed out, and it just wasn't very good, but it was still freaking magic. MacMan, probably connected to the serial port modem printer. Yeah, you're probably right, MacMan. It's probably where it connected. Mosquito says, I remember thinking this thing was interesting but not relevant to me. 15 years later, I was temping at an ad agency with a guy who got a permanent job there by using his own digital camera to create images for a comp. I was very impressed. It was very impressive. As an overall concept, the QuickTake was fascinating. The idea that you could take a picture and not have to go to develop it yourself, which very few people did, or go to your local drugstore or supermarket, and if you were lucky, you had a 1 hour print, but even then, I don't know, 1 hour prints were all that popular. It might be a week while your prints got sent off to some other place. Certainly in Halifax, when I was a kid, that's what happened. I'm pretty sure we probably had 1 hour printers in Vancouver. But still, you had to, go to the store and have these things printed off. It was eye-opening to me to see how technology could make people happy in that kind of way, to make them smile. How this little crappy camera, and we didn't know it was crappy at the time. We didn't know it wasn't perfect, but we didn't think it was all that bad. But this little crappy camera could make children smile, could make parents happy. Combined with a decent printer, you'd print this off for parents, and we would say, come on back in 5 minutes and we'll have this printed off for you. We hand them the picture. They had a little picture of their kid. I don't know if it sold any Macs. I don't know if it sold any QuickTakes. Because at that time, you could buy a fairly inexpensive point-and-shoot camera and a scanner. And the scanner came with Photoshop. Photoshop 1, 2, and I think up to Photoshop 3 was being given away for free by Adobe. With every scanner that you bought, you got a free copy of Photoshop. And that was under $1,000. So it was cheaper to go buy a camera and a scanner than it was to buy one of these QuickTake. Again, at least here in Canada. But it was really, really cool to see how this technology could affect people and make them happy and get them excited about technology. I've often wondered, Apple's never said, but I've often wondered how many of these things Apple sold. It wasn't the first digital camera, but it certainly was the first, I want to say commercially popular, but I don't even know if it was all that popular. The first commercially available to the average consumer camera. I had one for, I think, about 6 months, and then they broke. They were made out of cheap plastic, and they broke on a fairly regular basis. Apple, I think, had 2 more versions of it, the QuickTake 150, and I think the QuickTake 200. And they got better, but they were never fantastic. And they were killed off either when Steve Jobs came back in 97, when he killed off, and rightfully so, killed off everything that wasn't making money. This was when the Newton died, and when the rebranded printers, Apple wasn't making their own printers, they were rebranded printers. This QuickTake 100 was a Kodak camera, just rebranded by Apple. So they killed off a lot of the crappy CD players that they had, the scanners, all that kind of stuff. They killed all those things off and got back to the core of what Apple was. And good. I mean, I'm glad they did. But it was, for a moment in time there, Apple was really on the cutting edge of cool technology. No one else had anything like this. There was no other cameras out there that could do what the QuickTake did. And the funny thing is to think about that technology now, how now we're doing this wirelessly. We're taking pictures with our iPhone and posting them all over the world wirelessly at 10 times resolution of the old crappy QuickTake. But it was like I said, it was fun to take the pictures, to show parents the pictures, to show kids the pictures, and hopefully we sold a few Macintoshes that way, because it was kind of fun. Got an email from someone. As always, you can send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. This person does not want their name used because it's kind of embarrassing. Will an Apple Genius employee look through my computer when I send it into them for service? If they're bored and they have time, maybe. But as busy as the Apple Geniuses are, they're rarely that bored, and they rarely have that kind of time. And what do they care? Okay, so you've got porn in your browser history. So do they. You've got smut in your desktop, in your hard drive. Probably so do they. They don't care, for the most part. And if that's a concern, delete your browser history. Before you take it to the Apple store, do a backup. One thing I tell folks is, especially if you are going to the Apple Store to have anything done to your computer that requires hardware replacement, it's less a concern nowadays. But back in the day when Apple stores first started up, they would, as a matter of course, replace your hard drive. They would just take it out and put a new one in. or wipe your hard drive, even if you're getting RAM put in, even if you're getting your screen replaced, a new logic board, they would warn you ahead of time. They might delete the contents of your hard drive. So we always told folks, make sure you have a recent backup. They don't do that nearly as much anymore. But, you know, it's taking your computer into the Apple Store is always a good excuse, if nothing else, to make sure you have a recent backup, a bootable backup, in case something happens. You know, what happens if you take it to the Apple Store and you need to get a logic board done? And the genius, you know, just by accident, screws up and crashes your hard drive. It can happen. It's unlikely to happen, but it could happen. They haven't backed up your data. It's not their job. So what happens? You go to the store the next day and they say, hey, we put a new logic board in. Sorry, but we broke your hard drive. We put a new, bigger, faster one in there, but we broke your hard drive. You'd be screwed. So I always tell folks, make sure you've got at least a backup when you take your laptop into the Apple Store. You don't have to wipe the hard drive. I don't know you need to go that far and do a complete wipe, but I would certainly encourage you to at least make sure that you've got a recent backup. More emails from you folks. Send me emails as always to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com, or if you would like, you can send an email to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. As always, we love getting emails from you guys. Appreciate those. Oh, I want to say a big shout out and thank you to, let me make sure I get his name right, Tom Reiser, little Tommy Reiser. He's probably not little, but every time I see the name Tom, I think Tom. Tom Reiser sent me Velasquez Family Coffee. The website is vfamilycoffee.com. Let me pull that up for you guys. vfamilycoffee.com. vfamilycoffee.com. Sent me a couple of pounds, I guess, of their Maximo's French roast coffee. Now, the funny thing is about this coffee is that it came with instructions from, back a little bit. ArcSign says, Shawn, there's nothing on my computer I need to keep secure, work-related or private financial files. Those sit on external drive under encryption. Exactly. He's got nothing to worry about. So, yeah, just do your backups. And the other thing is, by the way, someone else I saw in the IRC chat room earlier in the show, I was talking about the YouTube link or watching the show via YouTube versus watching it via Google Hangouts. There is a delay, even though YouTube says there isn't. There is, in fact, a delay of anywhere between 15 and 45 seconds on the YouTube video from the time I say something to the time you folks on YouTube actually hear it. So there's that issue. If you want an immediate view or listen so that it syncs up to, say, example, the IRC, watch us on Google Hangouts. Yeah, that's probably the way to do it if you can to see us as live as possible, watching it on Google Hangouts. So Tom Reiser says they didn't fully explain black blood coffee. It's more like really high test Starbucks double shot. It's spendy but very good. Here's the explanation from the website. Black blood of the earth is a cold vacuum extraction coffee concentrate. It was created by a diabetic with a sweet tooth out of his need for caffeine, but without adding sugar and cream to cover the bitterness. While the goal was to make a rich, flavorful coffee full of delicious oils, caffeine was also concentrated as a pleasant surprise. According to the back of the envelope, rough estimates, the caffeine was concentrated about 40 times higher than a regular cup of coffee. So drink responsibly, he says. I recommend consuming no more than 100 milliliters, or about 3.5 ounces per day. That was the black blood stuff. He said the coffee I was really suggesting was the Velasquez coffee. So that's the stuff I have, is the Velasquez family coffee. Tom, I haven't opened this up yet because I've still got another batch of coffee from the grocery store. But thank you very much for that, buddy. I really appreciate it. And someone else also, one of our Secret Santas, sent me a real book, like a real physical book. Brunelleschi's Under the Dome. It's a fascinating story of the guy who was the architect for the Duomo in Florence. If you've ever seen a picture of Florence, Italy, you've definitely seen the Duomo, the big cathedral. Fascinating story with this guy who had no architecture experience at all in the 14th century, doing things that were just freaking impossible, and him doing it with the technology available there. So thanks very much to Secret Santa for sending me a real live book. I'm actually going to be bringing it along with me on the flight to Halifax. Jason Painter sends email about Apple and Beats. He says, I bought a pair of Beats Tour in-ear headphones a couple of years ago. I'm no hip-hop fan and not fashion conscious. I simply liked the look of them. They were black and red, and the flat cable was unique at the time. That's what really sold me. I guess I can agree that they were bassy, but this was irrelevant to me as I almost only listen to podcasts while on the road. It brings up a good question. How many of you guys have bought Beats headphones? Or, for lack of a better question, what headphones do you use? Do you still use the Apple headphones? Do you have specialty headphones? As you folks who've listened to the show on a regular basis know, I'm a big fan of the Etymotic headphones. And through Etymotic, I had a set of ear molds made. So these are custom-fitted ear molds that the folks at Etymotic had made for me. And so when I go out with my Etymotic headphones, I put those in. They give a great seal. I hate the Apple ones, the old Apple ones, and even the new Apple ones. They just fall out of my ears. I don't think they're very good. The old ones fell out of my ears. The newer ones, even with the angle, just sort of gently don't seal anymore, and therefore I have to increase the volume or jam them back into my ears. So yeah, what do you guys use for headphones? Just out of curiosity, on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. Robert Poland, I recently sold my Apple TV, thinking there would be a new one released. I have a credit with Apple, burning a hole in my pocket that is intended for a new Apple TV. Should I go for an Apple TV 3rd Gen Rev A or wait? What are your thoughts on this? Robert, if you don't need, it's the same thing we always say with this stuff. If you don't need the Apple TV, if you're getting by fine without the Apple TV, then wait till the next revision of it. There's no rush. There's nothing on there really that you can't get in other ways. It's just more convenient. Now, that being said, I use my Apple TV every single day. I use it to project video from my laptop to my Apple TV or my iPad to my Apple TV. If you missed your Apple TV, go ahead and buy one now if you can find a good deal. Right now it's $99, and you'll often see various places $10 off or that kind of stuff. But I'd hold off. It's not due for a revision, but it's likely to get a revision before the end of the year. So if you can hold off until the end of the year, you might be happy for a new Christmas present. But there's no rush unless you really are jonesing for your Apple TV and really miss it. Then I wouldn't buy it until you see the next revision. Roddy Paws. He says, I was listening to YML. You mentioned having to make business cards, wanting to find a good site. I would have suggested overnightprints.com. I think I've used them before, Roddy. I'm not sure. I don't know if that was one of the sites you tried, but I've used them for years. They have thick, high-quality cards for what I think is a very good price. If you need cards again, check them out. I think that is one of the sites that I did check out, Roddy. And I'm going to check them out again because I do need and want full-size business cards. I really liked the Moo cards because their shape was a kind of a cool, funky shape, and I could get images on the back side of them, and separate pictures. I didn't have to get 500 business cards with all the same image on the back. I got, I think, 100 Moo cards with a different image, not a different on every one of them, but I picked 7 images. And so 7 into 100, that's how many images of each I got. And I really like the way those things looked. I'll have to check overnightprints.com to see if they can fit the bill. I'm thinking about buying 1Password for my Mac. I have it for the iOS, but I know that Apple has their keychain that I can use on my Mac and my iPhone. I don't use it right now because I still won't downgrade from iOS 6 to iOS 7 because I hate the look. When I get my new iPhone, I'll have to deal with the ugly interface of iOS. Is 1Password so much better than Apple's keychain that's worth $25? I don't want to have to type my passwords into my Mac on my iPhone anymore? That's a great question. Now I haven't used 1Password on the Mac. I don't use Apple Keychain on the Mac. I don't use any websites. I don't go to any websites on my iPhone or iPad that requires me to use those kinds of passwords. I just don't like the security risk. And it's not a risk for everyone. It's not something everyone should worry about. It's something I just personally don't like doing. I'll never do online banking on my iMac or my iPad. So I don't need those services. So if someone else has an opinion, it's a fair question too. If you use Apple's keychain on your Mac and your iPhone, is 1Password worth it? Are there advantages to 1Password on the Mac and the iPhone? That's a good question, Roddy. Hopefully we'll get someone from the audience can chime in and help out with that. MacMan says 1Password is greater than Keychain, in my opinion. I understand that. Mosquito says I used to use Keychain to generate passwords manually. I use 1Password on the Mac. Almost never use it on my iPod. ArcSign says no Beats here. I buy cheap headphones that are comfortable, but really hardly use headphones anymore. I bought Sony stereo Bluetooth headphones to use while driving. Just keep one ear uncovered to hear sirens and such. I only use headphones on the bus and on the plane trip that I'll be going on tomorrow. I'll use headphones there. But yeah, oh my God, I took the bus this Saturday to get to the Falls Creek Dragon Boat Festival and forgot my headphones, and I wanted to pull my ears off. I don't understand why people on public transit have to have conversational, personal, private conversations at a volume level high enough I can hear you over the train. I don't care about the issues you're having with your boyfriend. I don't care about his, shall we say, performance anxiety. Not only do I not care, no one else on the bus cares. Please stop having those conversations in public. I just have to jam. Mosquito says, Shawn, it's because mobile phone sound is so crappy, people think they have to shout to be heard of one. No, this is a conversation between two people. They were sitting in front of me. Person was on the phone. On the phone conversations are just as bad. They're actually kind of worse because you only hear one side of them. It drives you crazy. So yeah, I have to listen to music when I'm on public transit because otherwise I'm going to kill people. I'm going to yell at them. I'm going to throw things at them. I'm going to be a crazy person and get thrown off the train because just shut up. Makes me nuts, these conversations people have to have in public. They're so freaking inappropriate. Sherry's laughing at me. Sly's laughing at me. Sly, you've got some nerve with all the trouble you have in public transit laughing at me. Sly's actually quite funny in public transit when she does her stories on Facebook about the people and the things that she sees on public transit. It's actually very amusing. Very amusing. Email onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. Got a message from my sister. Sorry, I get distracted. I'm going. She's trying to make sure that I'm going to get here okay and everything's going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. My little sister worrying about me, which is kind of nice. I like that. So again, don't forget, giving away later. Actually, we'll do it right now. Thanks to the folks at macfun.com, makers of great software for your Macintosh for photo editing. Joby, makers of the Gorilla Pod, the holder for your cameras and all kinds of cameras, for your iPhone, for your point and shoot, for your SLR. Joby.com. Epson.com are giving away a R2600 printer at our photography seminar on Saturday. Holoclip is giving away Holoclip lenses for the iPad and the iPhone. Lowepro is giving away Lowepro camera bags. Lowepro.com is their website. Backblaze is giving away online backup to lucky winners on Saturday. And Pixelmator is giving away copies of their excellent photo editing software or image editing software. Pixelmator, website is pixelmator.com. So go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. At the very top, it says Friends of YML Contest Entry Form. Fill that entry form out. Today's the last Wednesday in June. So what happens after today's show? I throw out all those contest entry forms. So next week, July 3rd, you have to redo it, unless you're a subscriber. If you're a subscriber to Your Mac Life, I do it automatically for you. So you are entered into a contest every single month automatically, every single week automatically, if you're a subscriber to Your Mac Life. I'm going over to the subscriber page right now, and the contest entry form. You find that one, subscribers. Here we go. So I'm going to do a random draw. All we need is someone in the IRC chat room to say stop when they get a chance. I'm scrolling through now, but Sherry already says stop already quickly. The winner of the Olo Pro. Where the hell did I get that name from? The Low Pro bag goes out to Kelsey Langovan. Kelsey Langovan doesn't say where Kelsey is. Kelsey, congratulations. I don't know if that's male or female. My apologies, Kelsey, for not getting your gender correctly. But Kelsey, I'll send you an email, and I think the Low Pro guys are giving a range of sling bags. The sling, I think they have the 150, the 250, and the 350. So Kelsey will get that information from the nice folks at Low Pro and send that off to you. I think that's it. Unless you guys have got any other questions, any other comments we want to make. Just going through my list to see if there's anything else here. Nope, I don't see anything else. Mosquito, don't stop. Thanks very much. I've been appreciating that, Mosquito. Mark Mendez, I've been commuting with my bike since January. Best thing I've ever done. Public transit makes my life possible. Mark, how far do you commute on your bicycle? You say bike. I'm going to assume it's bike and not bicycle. Sorry, bicycle and not motorcycle. It's always admire people who, especially if you're going on a straight country road for 5 miles, 10 miles, that's fine. But long commutes in the city, man, you've got to have cojones to do that because it's dangerous. It's dangerous for anyone on two wheels. But at least on a motorcycle, I've got the advantage of horsepower. I've got a throttle twist to get my ass out of trouble. You guys on bicycles don't, man. It's just even scarier on a bicycle. Mark's is not that far, about 5 kilometers. It's not bad. It's a nice morning ride, afternoon ride. Sly says, have a great trip, Shawn. Travel safe. Don't forget your ID and cables. Tonight after the show, I will on the screen over there. I'll put on the soccer game I haven't watched yet, and I will start loading up my bag. I will have more weight-wise. I will have more electronics than I will clothes. And I will throw in all that gear, it's amazing how many frickin' cables you've got nowadays. I got to bring my Apple TV. I got to bring power cable for the laptop. I have to bring a laptop. I have to bring a electrical cord because hotels never have enough electrical outlets. So I've got to bring a electrical outlet cable. What's those cables called? Electrical cable. Cable for juice. What is this? Extension cord. Extension cord. Thank you, Mo. Oh yeah, just ridiculous how much stuff I've got to bring. And I have to go through my presentation. I'll do all day on the flight tomorrow. I'll go through the presentation 1,000 times. So yeah, it's going to be. So thanks very much, Sly. I appreciate that. It's going to be a good trip. If nothing else, I'm still going to get to see my cute little niece. I'm going to get to see my sister. I'll get to see my mom. I'll get to see my hometown. So it's going to be a good trip that way, if nothing else. I hope it's going to be a good trip. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I will be off Thursday afternoon and be back here on Monday. So we'll still be doing a show on July 3rd. For those folks who are going to be celebrating my fellow Canadians, happy Canada Day. July 1st, Tuesday is Canada Day. Hopefully you'll get up there and do something interesting and fun to celebrate our nation's birthday. Travel safe, drive safe, play safe. And we'll see you all on next week's show, Wednesday, July the 3rd. Until then, as always, folks, I've been Shawn King, and you've been listening to Your Mac Life. Thank you. See ya.